pay for every belt that you win, there's a sanctioning fee. So now if a fighter wins an interim belt, he has to pay a sanctioning fee. If a fighter has just the regular belt, he has to pay a sanctioning fee. Then if a fighter is a super champion, then he has to pay a sanctioning fee. This is not good for the sport of boxing.
Y'all see them though.
Boxing's undisputed champion has been caught off guard not by a punch or a bad decision, but by the system that is meant to protect the sport. Less than 3 months after Terence "Bud" Crawford stunned fans by beating Canelo Alvarez and becoming boxing's new leading star, he was stripped of his WBC title. He did not lose it in the ring, and he was not knocked down. He lost it because he refused to pay what he described as extortion. The WBC demanded a massive $300,000 sanctioning fee from Crawford simply to let him keep the belt he had already won through his performance in the ring.
On Terence Crawford's side on this one, what do they do? Like, someone needs to tell me what they do, because ultimately, again, the commission do the majority of things in terms of you put a fight in Vegas, it'll be the Nevada State Athletic Commission, they will appoint the judges. I mean, one thing they do, I guess, is that clean boxing program thing with VADA. But I'm pretty sure, and I stand to be corrected, that it's the fighters that pay for that as well. So what do they do, people, that they think that they can just go and take a percentage of a fighter's purse? Nah. And look, the green and gold belt is, obviously it's very prestigious. For me, it's the best belt in boxing. I sometimes kind of battle with that in the Ring magazine belt. But that doesn't mean you can just take the piss. It really doesn't mean you can do whatever you want to do, that you can just make up a percentage, that you can ask for a fighter for a percentage of their purse. No. And all this as well, like, this thing, like, surely before a fight, if you are going to take a percentage, surely that has to be written down, contract, lawyered up. Like, I'm surprised that's why it's even more crazy. It's the wild, wild west. Like, surely if this is the percentage you're going to take from Crawford, it's okay, Crawford, you know, in order to have this undisputed fight, which is very prestigious, this is the percentage we're taking from you. And Crawford signs it off before the fight's even done. In fact, before his purse is even given to him, that percentage is already removed. The fact that you are waiting on Crawford just to pay you, big WBC for me is wild within itself.
When Crawford refused to make the payment, the WBC acted immediately and stripped him of the title. But the real story goes far beyond the money. It is about how the boxing world has reacted. As Crawford exploded online, threatening to reveal corruption and directly attacking the WBC, another fighter offered a response that felt like a wake-up call for the sport. Isaac "Pitbull" Cruz, famous for his aggressive and punishing style, was asked about the situation. Rather than adding fuel to the controversy, he gave a blunt and honest view that laid bare the tough financial realities behind boxing politics.
Terence Crawford had an issue with the WBC this morning. They stripped him at 168 pounds. He was complaining about sanctioning fees and things like that. Just what are your thoughts on that whole issue?
¿Cuál es tu opinión de lo que pasó con Terence Crawford por la mañana, que lo dejaron sin el cinturón de la CMB por no pagar la tarifa del cinturón?
Bueno, es algo que se tiene que cumplir, como el protocolo de antidopaje con VADA, pero bueno, él sabrá por qué no quiso pagar.
To understand why Cruz's response hit so hard, it helps to see how disrespected Crawford felt. This was not a private disagreement. It turned into a public battle. On December 3rd, the news came out that the WBC had officially removed Crawford as their super middleweight champion. Crawford did not release a calm statement. He went straight on Instagram Live, angry and uncensored. Looking directly into the camera, he attacked WBC president Mauricio Suleiman and said clearly, "Who do you think I am? You better slap yourself."
Him $300,000 plus another 100K something for sanction fees, right? Then he gonna tell me I ain't even apologize? Like, who the fuck you think I am? Boy, you better slap your fucking self. Ain't paying your ass shit. Fuck you talking about pay you $300,000. What makes you so motherfucking better than any other sanction bodies? Huh? Answer that question. What makes you better than the WBO, the IBF, or the WBA? Everybody accepted what I was giving them. But you the WBC think that you better than everybody, don't you? So since you, the WBC, and you got the fucking green belt, which don't mean fucking shit, fucking real belt is the ring belt, which is free.
Crawford explained that the WBC demanded hundreds of thousands of dollars simply to let him keep the belt. He said he offered a fair amount the same fee that the IBF and WBO were willing to accept, but the WBC wanted much more. When he said no, they took the title from him. Crawford summed it up with a line that is now spreading across boxing, saying fighters are being taxed. And his point is hard to ignore. Fighters take the punches, cut weight, and suffer damage that can last a lifetime, while officials in suits who risk nothing fly first-class, stay in luxury hotels, and enjoy high-end meals paid for by the fees fighters are forced to pay.
Makes sense. I'm the motherfucker that's putting my life on the line, not you. You ain't stepping your motherfucking ass in that ring. You or nobody else. You or nobody else. So why should I have to pay to carry your belt? You should be paying me. If you want to be truthful, you should be paying me. I don't see it. It irks my nerves how this dude gets on a plane, gets a hotel suite. Him and his buddies, they go out to dinner, 5-star meals, all that, you know, and guess who gotta pay for it? Us fighters. We paying for y'all to come out here, have the time of y'all life, stay in the best hotels of y'all life, and it's all done on our dime. It's done on our dime. Do that sound right to y'all? It's crazy, ain't it? We the one out there getting battered, knocked upside our head, and every time we step foot in the ring, we gotta pay them a sanction fee like they the government. We getting taxed. It's crazy.
Crawford went even further by calling the green belt what many fans have believed for a long time, a trophy rather than proof of real greatness. He pointed out that the most respected title in boxing, the Ring Magazine belt, costs fighters nothing at all. It stands for history and legacy, not a payment. By exposing the money behind these belts, Crawford is challenging the whole system of modern boxing and suggesting that many alphabet titles have turned into business deals dressed up as honor.
Mauricio, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Because everybody in the world know you was going for Canelo. You was mad that I beat Canelo. It's okay. It happens, you know? But if you a real fan of the sport, you would have, you know, said congratulations instead of having that little smirk on your face, all mad and pouting. But listen though, you should have took the money and you should have been thankful and grateful that I was rocking your belt around as your champion. As your champion, the WBC champion, the undisputed champion at that. But you want to make it about you. You want to say, oh, well, you stripped me. Like, I've been stripped before. The IBF just stripped me when I was at 147. Doesn't matter. I'm still considered the undisputed champion. I'm still the champion in the division. Because you know why? The only belt that's recognizable as the champion is the ring belt, baby. That's the #1 belt in the division. That trumps all belts.
This brings the focus back to Pitbull Cruz. While Crawford was venting online, Cruz was locked in on his own fight week, preparing to defend his title against Lamont Roach Jr. Reporters expected him to take sides or attack the WBC, but instead he gave a firm no-nonsense response. There was no emotion or drama, just a hard truth: we have to pay. For Cruz, sanctioning fees are part of the job, just like making weight or dealing with poor officiating. He said he understands Crawford's position, but made it clear that he and his team choose to stay away from that type of battle, because for him it is simply the cost of surviving in boxing.
Subriel Matias tested positive for ostarine. He's the WBC champion. You guys are fighting for the interim. WBC gave him like a year probation. He's still facing that guy Smith in like a month or so. Just what are your thoughts on that he tested positive and no, they're not taking the belt. Doesn't seem to be really facing any consequences. What's your thoughts on that?
Bueno, ¿qué opinas de la falta de consecuencias ante la situación de Subriel Matías, que dio positivo de ostarina? La Comisión Mundial de Boxeo le dio un probation de un año, pero más allá de eso, él sigue peleando dentro de un mes, no parece que pasa nada. ¿Qué opinas?
Pues es algo que ya no se vuelve limpio y creo que deben de tomar cartas en el asunto para ya ser más estrictos en esa parte, porque al final del día se está convirtiendo ya algo normal que cualquier boxeador lo esté haciendo. Igual con Jenny Beck ya salió igual con la misma o probablemente con la misma dosis, entonces ya tiene que haber alguna sanción más fuerte y ya no debe de haber ningún tipo de porcentaje de tolerancia.
This divide between Crawford and Cruz shows two very different ways fighters deal with boxing. On one side, Crawford stands as the challenger willing to confront the whole system and risk everything to expose double standards. On the other side, Cruz represents the disciplined fighter who stays focused, accepts the system, and keeps moving even when it feels unfair. But Crawford's issue went beyond money. He accused the WBC of clear favoritism at the top, claiming Mauricio Suleiman was angry that he defeated Canelo Alvarez. That is when fans began asking serious questions. Canelo held the same WBC belt for 2 years without facing his mandatory challenger David Benavidez, and faced no pressure or punishment. He was not threatened or stripped. Yet the moment Crawford refused to pay higher fees, he was removed immediately. Crawford made his point clear: the rules seem flexible for the WBC favored stars, but break instantly for everyone else.
Since Canelo is no longer a belt holder coming into his next fight, a fight that's still expected to make a lot of money due to Canelo's popularity and ongoing contract with Riyadh season, this means that for the first time in 7 years, not a single sanctioning body will benefit from Canelo's earnings. So the sooner Canelo becomes champion again, the better for them. But for the time being, they'll have to rely on Terence Crawford as their sanctioning fee provider. These sanctioning bodies make a lot of money from Canelo being their champion. Like, why did you think there wasn't any pressure coming from them when Benavidez was Canelo's mandatory? It's because if Canelo lost, then they'll have to rely on Benavidez and his $7 million purses. And if they decide to bully and pressure Canelo, and Canelo says, you know what, screw it, and decides to vacate the belt instead, then it's the same thing. They lose the—
Cruz also spoke out on another problem rocking the sport: the rising tolerance for drug use. When asked about Subriel Matias, who recently tested positive for ostarine, Cruz was blunt. He said boxing is getting too lenient on cheaters, and that violations should never be accepted. He showed more anger at doping offenders than at sanctioning fees, because drugs put fighters' lives at risk while late payments hurt no one. Consider both situations side by side. A clean champion is punished immediately for refusing to pay a fee, while fighters caught using banned substances often face slow or weak penalties. This exposes a harsh reality: sanctioning bodies appear to value money more than fighter safety.
It's free! How you love that? $180,000 free. How much your belt cost? I wonder, how much your belt cost? Huh? I don't see no receipts on your belt. It's crazy. Y'all be having so much taxes on these belts. You got some nerves. It's crazy that you can sit up there and have all these belts. You know, you got the WBC silver, the WBA intern, the whatever belt y'all got. And you taxing these fighters every time they fight, and you claim that you for these fighters. You're not for these fighters. You probably worse than the promoters. But hey, I wish you the best, you know? I wish you the best, you and your company.
After stripping Crawford, the WBC tried to move on quickly. They scheduled a fight between Hamza Sherez and Christian Bailey to claim the vacant title. Their hope was that a new champion would shift attention away from the controversy, But even that plan is now running into trouble. Reports say negotiations are breaking down. The belt is left in limbo and its value is falling. By taking the title from Crawford, the WBC did not hurt his legacy, they hurt their own. Whoever ends up with that green belt will know they did not beat the real champion, they just paid the fee he refused to pay.
The president of the WBC, Mauricio Suleiman, does have a point because historically it's always been 3%. That's what the fighters play, and that is what it is, and that's what it's always been. Obviously, a fight of this magnitude, which was being billed as Fighters of the Century, $50 million allegedly he got paid for that one. They don't want to take 3% off him. They said let's do 0.6%, which is $300,000. So I understand it, and that's just the way the system is. Don't tell me he's not paid the WBC sanctioning fees before, because he must have. But now what he's saying is, I don't want to pay that because I want to, the Ring Magazine are the ones that have got it right. The Ring Magazine obviously is one of the most historic belts and considered the number one of the 4-belt era, the Ring Magazine, but they don't charge. So that's where he's at, and that's the point he's making. But then how did the WBC then make their money if they don't make commissions off? It's like everyone charges for everything. All the other sanctioning bodies would have charged him as well, whatever that was. So
it would appear to me that there's 5 sanctioning bodies, which would have been the WBC, WBA, the IBF, the WBO, and the Ring Magazine. That's why it's 0.6%. Because if you divide 3% by 5, you get 0.6%. I have very little respect for the WBC and the way they operate. I have very little respect for Mauricio Suleiman. I think they're a hypocritical, disingenuous organisation. But I don't think there's anything fundamentally wrong with what he said there. And if it is indeed the deployment of those funds go to the well-being of fighters, we can't have an industry that constantly talks about the need to look after its own, and then when it gets to the top end of the tree, the top end doesn't want to pay it.
WBC president defended the sanctioning fee, saying it has traditionally been 3%, and the lowered 0.6% was already a discount because 5 belts were involved. Critics argue that the amount is not the real problem. The issue is the inconsistency, favoritism, hypocrisy, and the way the organization values money over the well-being of fighters.
Made a very clear 0.6%, which is $300,000, with $225,000 going to the Jose Sulaiman Boxers Fund, which is to help former fighters in need. And it is just regrettable. Not even a thank you or I'm sorry, taking a different route, no response. I wish him the best. But this is not. The WBC is huge, it's great, it's about greatness, and I'm relieved. We made a very clear 0.6%, which is $300,000, with $225,000 going to the Jose Sulaiman Boxers Fund, which is to help former fighters in need. And it is just regrettable. Not even a thank you or I'm sorry, taking a different route, no response. I wish him the best. But this is not. The WBC is huge, it's great, it's about greatness, and I'm relieved.
Crawford has drawn a firm line. He does not need a sanctioning body to prove he is great. Pitbull Cruz shows the opposite perspective, that fighters often feel they must accept the system just to keep going. Now boxing is left facing a question that could change the sport. If fans already know who the best fighter is and the ring belt costs nothing, why do fighters keep paying huge sums for belts that feel more like business products than true symbols of greatness? Was Crawford right to keep his $300,000 and walk away, or should he have paid to hold on to his title?